Monday, January 22nd, Day 2. The Secret Service caught up with Richard Nixon as he emerged from the elevator on the ground floor of the White House, 2 floors below the private residence. He had come to work a little earlier than usual in order to meet with Henry Kissinger. The National Security Advisor was about to leave for Paris for a final negotiating session with the North Vietnamese. If all went well, he would initial an agreement to end a war that had lasted almost 2 decades. As was often the case in the hours leading up to a climactic point in his presidency, Nixon was on edge. He was already worrying about minor details of scheduling and presentation, determined to ensure that his moment of triumph not be sullied. He walked along the long, red-carpeted corridor, striding past the portraits of former First Ladies and the map room where Franklin D. Roosevelt had charted the course of World War II. A Secret Service man scampered in front of him, opening the twin sets of glass doors that led to the colonnade adjoining the Rose Garden. But instead of heading to the Oval Office, Nixon descended another flight of stairs to the West Wing basement. He strode across West Executive Avenue, the closed-off street that separated the West Wing of the White House from the monstrous neo-Baroque pile of the Executive Office building. A grand outdoor staircase of 26 stone steps, framed by multiple pillars and balconies, brought Nixon to the hideaway office that he used for what he called his brain work. For decades, the EOB had served as the unloved adjunct of the White House, a place of exile for bureaucrats who were not sufficiently close to the president to command an office in the West Wing. Dubbed the ugliest building in America by Mark Twain, it had been built in the aftermath of the Civil War to house a rapidly expanding federal bureaucracy. But it had acquired a sudden prestige as a result of Nixon's decision to use the Oval Office primarily for ceremonial purposes. Obsessed with privacy and solitude, he was determined to escape the hothouse atmosphere of the West Wing and the prying eyes of aides and journalists who were still camped out in the lobby at the beginning of his presidency. After reviewing various possibilities, he settled on an airy first-floor suite known as EOB 175, with 20-foot-high ceilings and a patio overlooking the White House. He decorated his study with a selection of gavels from his time presiding over the Senate as vice president, dozens of miniature elephants, the symbol of the Republican Party, footballs, and a prized hole-in-one golf cart. A collection of political cartoons celebrating his various election victories, beginning with his trouncing of the soft-on-communism Congressman Jerry Voorhees in California in 1946, adorned the walls of the staff office next door. Hidden behind the bathroom and kitchen in the mysteriously named Room 175.5 was a telephone equipment closet used to house a battery of tape recorders connected to microphones drilled into the desk in Nixon's office. The placement of the microphones made it difficult, sometimes impossible, to pick up conversations in other parts of the room. Prior to moving in, Nixon had demanded that his study be equipped with a big, comfortable chair, similar to the one I now have in the Lincoln sitting room. His wife, Pat, arranged for a much-loved lounge chair and matching ottoman to be brought down from his Fifth Avenue apartment in New York, where he had worked as a lawyer before assuming the presidency. He also requested a pretty good bookshelf, where he could place books by the authors he most revered, such as Winston Churchill, Abraham Lincoln, and Charles de Gaulle. For relaxation, he turned to biographies of Theodore Roosevelt, political thrillers by writers like Alan Drury, and the World War II novels of Herman Wouk, which he kept on his desk.